What's up guys, welcome back to another live trading video. Real quick, what I mean by live is these are real trades that I am taking on my account and I'm filming them here without knowing what's going to happen next in the markets. So I just entered into a position here on the dollar against the Swiss franc, just picked up a long position as price came down to the 61.8. And before I could really even get started filming, there has been a reaction to this level. So I'm feeling really good about my entry so far. I'm going to start this video with showing the entry, the reasoning behind the trade, and then I'm going to film in progression as the trade goes along. So whether this is a win or a loss, I do plan on uploading it to YouTube. And so what I'll start out here is explaining the entry. So let's look at the technical analysis first. So the first thing I want to show is that the dollar against the Swiss franc has been on a pretty good little uptrend here. We've been seeing higher lows in this market and things have looked pretty bullish for this currency pair. Now today we had a big sell-off, or actually yesterday as well, we had a big sell-off on the dollar against the Swiss franc. And truthfully, to just see my broker orders there, you can actually see I took a long position back here and then stopped out very shortly after. So of course, this is a re-entry, meaning that I already took one trade. It was a loss. It was a small controlled loss, but then now looking to actually re-enter because I do like this entry a little bit better. Couple things to point out here. I drew from the bottom of this previous swing low. Remember, we were saying higher lows and higher lows and higher highs in this market. Well, this low up to this high, what I did is I went ahead and drew a Fibonacci retracement, and that is actually how I sort of found my entry. Now, what I mean by that is I took this fib, in case you're not familiar with it, you take the fib from the swing low of a move to the swing high, and there you go. It's got three levels printed here that I'm going to be paying attention to: the 38.2, the 50%, and the 61.8. So now, on top of that, that alone is not what's going to get me into a trade. I'd usually take into account a couple different factors before making a decision to go long or short on a particular currency pair or market that I'm trading. The next thing I want to show is that we do have pretty strong support here. Now, what we had here previously was a really big level of resistance. Every time price came up, you saw price basically reject it and sellers would push the market back down. Until recently, where we had these beautiful, powerful green candles to the upside on the dollar against the Swiss franc that caused price to break out and to make a nice little run to the upside. Since then, now we are seeing a bit of a corrective move or a pullback to that same very level, and bam, I waited all day for this, so I'm kind of excited for this trade. Whether it's a win or loss, at least I know I got an entry that I'm very comfortable with. Bought at support, bought at the 61.8, and in the context of an overall uptrend. So there we go. That's the entry. Now, what about the stop loss? Of course, with every trade I take, I like to put a stop on it just so that in case I'm wrong, I don't get blown up or do anything super bad. By the way, I'm taking a small position on this account. I'm not going to risk a tremendous amount of the account on this one trade. As I do with any trade, my goal is to take many trades with risk being very sort of capped, keeping things controlled. And if things go well, then great. I'll look to try and make a good profit. And if things go poorly, I'll try and stop out quickly. So with that said, I do have a 25 pip stop loss on my trade. And I did calculate that sort of based on this level here. So the 61.8, I'd like to see it hold. If it doesn't, if it keeps going, that would be the point at which I cut the trade and I get out of there in case price wants to continue lower. Now, what I will also point out here is that if you look at the 1 hour view, it does look a bit bearish. But you can see there's my entry, and so far we're getting a bit of a reaction there on the higher time frames. Anytime I take a trade, I like to take into consideration the higher time frames, thing like the daily chart and the 4 hour chart, because I am a swing trader. I'm not here to day trade. I'm not in and out all the time. I am basically looking for positions that I can try and capture and hold on to for a bigger potential win. So with that said, let me explain one more part here. Anytime I take a trade, I share it inside of our private Discord channel. Here you go. I just popped it up on the screen. So I am basically alerting all of my trades here to members. Now, this is a re-entry, so I basically did this very brief. You can see here's my previous trade. So I shared the same fundamental reason. I said dollar is looking bullish as stocks sell off, and the Fed is leaning towards tightening monetary policy recently. I mentioned this morning that I was waiting for this pullback, finally got it, hit that 61.8, and that is what triggered me into the buy. So I shared the trade, put my limits out out there, or sorry, my market buy out there with my stop loss in place. And you may notice that I don't have a take profit on this trade. Well, so part of that is intentional. So what I like to do is I like to trail my stop loss when I take a position. So what that may look like is I end up taking the trade here, and if price goes in my favor, then I will actually, instead of setting a take profit, I'll look to trail my stop up behind price as things go along. So if this trade goes well, then maybe you'll see an example of that. So with that said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video, and once the market moves a little bit more and something gets interesting, I'll start the camera back up and get it rolling so that you guys can see an update on the position. What's up, guys? So just a little bit of an update here. I'm actually watching as the news spike comes out. You can see price went crazy to the upside, which was really good for my position. Of course, hindsight is telling me you should have closed it right up there. But I figured I would just get the camera rolling just because things are sort of exciting as I watch them play out here. Again, we have some big news here in the US. We are seeing some, we're having a Fed meeting at the moment. So the Fed meeting is scheduled to happen right now for the next 30 minutes. So my goal is just to sort of let you watch a little bit of the price action, mostly just because it's kind of fun to watch the spikes. They can be kind of crazy. So again, you can see there's where I got in. We've actually seen price not go too far of any direction. We drifted a little higher, then we came a little bit lower, then we came back to break even. And so now with the price action coming in highly volatile right now, I figured we could just get the camera rolling just to see a little bit of what this movement is looking like here. So of course this is lower time frame, and I can just still extend my analysis out here a little bit. I'm still in the trade. Like I said, it hasn't really moved that much. You can see from a 4-hour perspective, everything is still sort of intact. The 61.8 level has so far held pretty well, and now it's just a question of, can we get some follow through? Now again, we saw a big spike there on the news, and really truthfully it could go either direction here in the next 20-30 minutes. So I am just going to let it play out here, and what I'll do is I'll just do a little bit of a time lapse. We'll just let the chart play out here for a little bit, and I'll let you guys watch some of the price action. So let's speed it up. All right, guys, so as you could see there, what started out as pretty negative news, price went against us. Actually, kind of a crazy thing. It went right up, and then it went straight down, came back to break even, went straight down. And this is why usually I sort of avoid actually taking trades within the news, because you can see this thing is like a drama queen, and it could come back down at any moment here. But as you saw in that time lapse there, I left the trade on, just left it to do its thing. I knew that my max stop loss was down somewhere here. I had a stop loss in place, but now have since moved the stop loss up to just better than break even. So I've taken the risk off the table. So this move, look at that. I mean, those green bars were impressive, and I'm sure they'll look pretty cool in the time lapse. But I actually went to the store during that, so I stepped away from the chart, left it going, and surprisingly, as I came back, it was super strong to the upside, which is awesome, which gave me the chance also to, of course, trail my stop to break even. You can see here is the trade alert update update. So I said dollar Swiss running high. I moved my stop loss to break even after that move. And for those of you guys who are trading inside of the VIP group, congrats. Hopefully you caught some good moves there if you liked the trade and took it for yourself. Of course, as always with the VIP group, the purpose is not to sort of copy other people. We're here to actually, come together as traders, learn how to do this better, share wisdom, share ideas, so that ultimately everyone can make their own trading decisions. Because at the end of the day, you've got to really understand what you're doing here if you're going to be making money. But anyways, like I said, dollar Swiss shared the trade there, the update now in. So from this point, it is not a matter of whether or not I make money or lose money. At this point, the worst case scenario is I walk away with a very small profit, which again could still happen. But at this point, I have the comfort of knowing my stop loss is trailed in. I can't lose anything on this trade. And now we are just going to give it some more time to run. So with that said, I will pause again. All right, guys, I think I need to catch you up to speed a little bit here on my position looking at dollar Swiss franc. I actually ended up getting stopped out for just better than break even. I think the trade was about a $5 win, which is not too much, obviously. But what I ended up doing is this New York session the next day. It's been, I think, about 24 hours since I've really filmed an update on this position. I ended up taking a re-entry, and this time I changed things just slightly on my trade. So I am still going to be, playing around with USD CHF. I want to pull this up just to show you. So I ended up getting stopped out for break even or slightly better, made a couple bucks there, and then just decided to re-enter here today. I did like that level quite a bit. And one thing that I added here, as I said, I'm re-entering, which, by the way, this is a good example of, what I mean by re-entering. I don't have any problem with getting stopped out for a small profit or break even, and looking to just re-enter at a better opportunity. So I ended up liking the way that price was bouncing off of this level today, this morning. We saw it bounce. That's where basically I got tagged out for break even. And on the rebound, I basically said, hey, you know what? I'm willing to jump back into this trade. I like the way that this level is pretty stubbornly holding. And so what I did is I actually re-entered and I tightened the stop loss just a bit more. So this time I'm risking just 20 pips to the downside if price goes against me. So I am back into the trade, and I want to give this pair a chance to sort of follow through on yesterday's volatility. Now, of course, what this does is it does add risk to the table. So in this case, I could now walk away with a loss. So, and I am okay with that. I like the probabilities here that this could still be a pretty good trade. I've tightened the stop loss. I've got my risk managed, and from here we just give it some time. So what I'll do is I'll pause and come back once things are going again. Okay guys, so it's been a few days since my last update on this position. Taking a look at dollar against the Swiss franc, I am still long, but now have made some adjustments to this new entry. So if you remember, I took my initial trade, got stopped out for break even, decided to re-enter, and I'm glad I did because I'm sitting up just about $95 here on the trade at the time of recording this. Now what I've done here just before I filmed this is I basically just updated members and said, hey, you know what, I'm actually going to go ahead and trail my stop loss here just a bit more. So you can see if we drop it down to, for example, the 15-minute chart, we had a really good run up here at the start of the week. It is Monday when I'm filming this, so you can see we had a really strong run to the upside there, and basically from there we pulled back, found support again, made another stab, and now kind of just entering into this back and forth period, a lot of volatility. And so what I decided to do is I decided to trail my stop loss and lock in some part of the trade. So at the worst case in this scenario, I'm in a really good spot, basically because I can't lose money on this trade anymore. At this point, the worst case would be I take a smaller profit, still a profit though, and I'd walk away happy. So I'm in a good spot. Let's also take a look just so you can see. Here is the update that I sent to members. I said dollar Swiss is getting a bit choppy up here. I'm going to go ahead and move my stop loss into profit, and the stop loss has been moved just below structure at 92.55. So there it is. Basically shared the update with my picture there. And from there, what we'll do is we will just go ahead at this point and just give it a chance to either continue higher, maybe try and make a break for new highs, or if this thing decides to get bearish and roll back over here, if there's a big profit taker up here, if this turns into some form of like a head and shoulders kind of thing, then of course in that situation I will go ahead and stop out and take my profit. So in a good spot, like I said, at this point I will just pause the video and come back. All right, guys, and I'm going to go ahead and call it good there on dollar Swiss franc, out there for $42 or so on the trade, plus that initial trade, which was a couple bucks. So not terrible. Of course, I wish this thing would have kept skyrocketing to the moon. But again, sometimes the market just does some crazy stuff. We saw a lot of volatility there, back and forth, and maybe, hey, there's a chance to look to re-enter. But again, this is showing me a lot of bearish signals for the time being. You can see both those major levels of demand where I just sort of highlighted are now really just selling off. So for now, I am out of the trade, happy to take a profit there. Again, glad that I re-entered, even though I didn't make the max amount of profit. You saw me having more money on the table. Sometimes this is the nature of trailing stops. You just take a profit and hey, you just move on and look for more setups. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button down below, subscribe to the channel, and check out the playlist section if you'd like to see more live trading videos. Some trades are better than this, some are worse than this, but again, all of it is filmed here on YouTube. So if you enjoyed, like I said, subscribe, stick around. Thanks very much, guys. We'll see you next time. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching today's video. There are more videos available on our channel here and here, so go ahead and click into that for some more free trading content. With that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you back next time.